This episode is brought to you by Outside the Box, Taz and I's new program for people like us. We realized we were only able to make it to the gym probably about once to twice a week if we were truly lucky, and we needed something to keep us fit. We also needed an online community to be a part of, so we created one. It's called Outside the Box, and the idea is that the workouts fit within about a 30-minute time frame because that's what we have these days. The gear list is super minimal, starting as low as just a dumbbell and a jump rope and working your way all the way up to a fully kitted home gym. The cost is $20 a month, and we've got a private Facebook group, and we just kind of are enjoying the whole online community and committing to something larger than just a program. If you want to check it out, go to outsidethebox.fit, give it a look, and enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tribe Life Podcast. My name is Pat, and my wife is Tamarin. We are two parents with three boys who really have no idea what we're doing as parents, so we figured we'd interview as many people as we possibly could about what they were doing as parents, see if we could learn some stuff. We hope you enjoy. If you ever have any questions, you can reach out to us at our website, thetribelife.family. Enjoy the podcast, and thank you for tuning in. So it's Michaela and Craig.
Yes.
Craig. So we're here with Michaela and Craig, and both last names North.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. And the way we start this off is we want you to, why don't you say, let's say what you wanted to be when you grew up and what you are now. So did you succeed in growing up how you wanted to grow up, basically? So what did you want to be when you grew up, and what are you now?
Do you want to start that, or you start that? I feel like
that's an easy one. Originally, I wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Sounds about right.
That turned into a professional football player. I didn't become either one of those. I developed land and sell real estate. So
Nice.
Couldn't be farther from what I was shooting.
Hell yeah. Speaking of land and real estate, are you in your guys' new house?
No, not yet. Next week.
Yeah, we're just like got boxes. We've been playing with boxes all day today.
Awesome.
Doing a little packing.
Awesome.
Yep. One more week.
One more week. How about you?
I don't even. That is like. Usually I can
Really?
answer questions. I can't
answer.
even think. Yeah. I mean, I knew I always wanted to be a mom, and I'm a mom, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Success.
So success, check. Gosh, I wanted to do, my dad is really entrepreneurial minded. I always thought that was really cool, focusing on something within the business realm of things. But so that's what I got my degree in, was business marketing. And I don't know if you'd say I have my own business.
Well, that's a terrible answer.
Really terrible answer.
That's a terrible answer. I appreciate Craig's honesty.
I remember taking all of those like tests in high school, trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I feel like it was really inconclusive. So I've always wanted to just follow whatever it is that I'm most passionate about. And for me, I started in the business world in marketing and quit my job like immediately when I found CrossFit, and knew 100% I wanted to be helping people with health and fitness from then on. And so I've pretty much been either doing that or competing ever since. It's been about 8 years now.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, not probably what I envisioned, but definitely what I want to be doing.
Yeah, I don't think many of the people who are in the current industry we're in envision being in this industry as kids. They were like, yeah, I'm going to do a health and fitness lifestyle, help out with them through social media. Like, nah, there's not many who projected that.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
So how did you two meet? And when was that bad boy?
I always tell the story. Do you want to tell it?
We actually first met. She came on a recruiting trip. I was at Weber State playing football. My sister was on the track team. And when she came on a recruiting trip her senior year, my sister hosted her. And I was over at my sister's.
Nice.
Right in the fridge. I don't know what I was doing. Anyways, that was the first time we met for a minute. Then I just bided my time until she showed up on campus and made my move then.
You're like, hey, remember that time I was getting the thing out of the fridge?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was cute. But we both grew up in the Northwest. I grew up in Washington, and he grew up in Oregon, just on the Columbia River, like an hour apart.
Oh,
but
wow.
we ended up meeting in Utah.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
cool.
And
Yeah.
so how many kids do you have? What are their names and their ages?
Go.
Okay, so Mason and Zoe, they are 5.5. And then Jack, he's 4. And Scotty, she is 10 months old.
So 4.
Okay, so you had the twins first.
Yes.
Yep.
And then 17 months later, we had Jack. It's just a blur.
An accident.
So Jack was an accident.
Maybe edit that out. If he's gonna listen to this.
Yeah, geez.
I mean, it'll be like 18 years before he listens to it.
I mean, I'm sure he'll know. Like, Mom, Dad, you probably didn't plan that, did you? 3 kids in a year and a half. But, yeah. So, yeah, just a total surprise. We did like fertility to get pregnant with the twins.
Really?
So, yeah. So,
Sort of.
I mean,
We didn't make it as
do
far down the road.
in vitro, but like ovulation help and like hormone help kind of getting started. And then, yeah, we're just so the twins, there was I think it was like a 1% chance of getting multiples.
That's
is what
what
our
he
doctor
said.
told us.
Yeah.
So the twins was a huge surprise. And then I obviously didn't think like, oh, I'll get pregnant right away. And I did.
Well, that's
More-
kind of cool.
that's
So you got pregnant naturally.
Yeah. Like they say you can get pregnant before your cycle actually comes back, and that's definitely true. So, yes, I got
I keep
pregnant.
trying to convince Taz otherwise.
I know.
It's impossible.
I'm too smart.
It's impossible.
Not falling for that one.
We don't need this condom. What is this for? No.
When you guys found out that you were having twins, what was like your initial reaction?
Oh my gosh, we were so.
I just about passed out.
Yeah.
It was my 10-week appointment, and I was just like, after we'd been trying to get pregnant for a couple of years, so we did the fertility, and I just didn't know, like, is it going to be possible? And then I found out I was pregnant, and I think my progesterone came in low, and so I, of course, Google, that's chance of miscarriage, low progesterone. So I was just like a nervous wreck at our 10-week appointment, like,
Yeah.
maybe we'll look at the screen and there won't even be a baby. I don't know. And so we're sitting there, and the doctor reviews my hormones before we go in for the ultrasound. He's like, all right, let's go in and count those babies. And we're like, that's funny.
I could barely walk down the hall. I was like, you mean to say that?
Did he mean to say that?
So, yeah, we're sitting there, and I'm like, well, remember he did say, like, there is a chance of multiples. And we're both like, I'm like, maybe we should be prepared for that. And then we kind of looked at each other like, nah. And then, yeah, he comes in and does the ultrasound, and there's 2 very distinct little babies on the screen. And, yeah, Craig stayed sitting across the room, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, Craig.
I couldn't stand up.
I'm like, can you see? I'm like, come over here. And he's like, no, I can see it. Oh, yeah.
And so did you have trouble? I mean, you obviously went on fertility because were you having trouble getting pregnant? Like, was that a process before that?
Yeah, honestly, so in retrospect, I now know, like, it was definitely, I got talked into doing that depot shot for birth control one time, and it just, like, totally flopped my hormones. So
Explain depot shot to my brain.
Depot Provera, I think is what it's called. It's a form of birth control, and they give you a shot, and it basically,
It's like a slow release hormone.
Yeah, and so you're supposed to, like, you're not have a cycle for 3 months, but mine ended up being like 6 months, and then it was just irregular ever since after that. And there's 2 hormones that basically help you ovulate. There's the FSH and the SH hormones, and they're supposed to be certain numbers, and mine were basically flipped. So I took a drug to get them back to where they should be, and then to help with ovulation. And so once they were where they should be again, like once I got pregnant and stuff, everything just kind of leveled out on its own, and apparently I'm super fertile. So yeah.
Oh wow,
So you guys had 2 surprises, like the twins, and then the next one was a surprise.
And then
then-
Scotty was also
Yeah.
a surprise.
Scotty,
Would have figured it out.
do you guys know how this works? Like, you know,
We do now.
okay, all right. I'm just.
So when number 5 comes rolling in, it'll be planned.
yes.
Number 5 will be totally our fault. No, there won't be a number 5.
Yeah, we're thinking we're done. We're feeling good about 4. 4's good. We love 4. But no, honestly, like we'd always wanted a big family, and 4 was kind of, I was good with 4, but the timing definitely was not our planning.
Right.
But in retrospect, it's so fun having kids close in age. So
Yeah.
if it's happened, I wouldn't change it.
Do you guys come from big families?
Yeah.
There's 4.
I'm the oldest of 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
a lot in his family, and then I'm middle child of 4.
Okay.
So that's pretty
Yeah.
big.
Those are
nowadays.
big. I mean, yeah, those
Yeah.
are big families.
Above
This is-
average for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Mine's huge.
Yours is huge.
Feels even bigger now.
It feels even bigger. So as one of 7, I don't know. So I've seen some of your posts where you talk about being present as a parent. And I just, you got 4, so you can speak to being present with 4 kids as well as the rest of your life. Like, you growing up as one of 7, like, was it even possible for your parents to be present with you as kids? Like, or was it just constant chaos? Like, how would that have worked?
His parents are next level.
It felt now looking back, it feels like it was. I remember them being present. I mean, whether that was the case then or not, maybe not, but it feels like they were.
Wow.
My mom was home. My mom didn't work, so she was home all day, and it was literally like her mission to cater to us.
Yeah.
She made breakfast every morning, sent us off to school with lunch every day, was there to pick us up,
Laundry
take us to
folded.
practices,
Wow.
did the laundry.
And your dad was pretty flexible too,
And my
right?
dad, later on, was really flexible with work, and I would say his hobbies were following us around in athletics, and so he was always there as well. So yeah, I would say they were pretty present.
That's
and
impressive.
also, mom doesn't sleep either, so she
She doesn't
accomplished.
sleep and she doesn't eat, so
Yeah.
that cut out a significant
I don't know how she-
amount of.
She's hard to live up to. She's like, I don't know how she functions just on
Life.
on stress.
On 7 kids.
Dude.
That's how she functions.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
So she's
wild.
like, I think she would be like up cleaning the house at night and stuff, and then so she was just able to be there during the day. And it's amazing. Like, I have friends or families with that many kids, in their household, and it's just chaos.
Mm.
And seeing his household a little bit when we were in college dating was just, she keeps a very clean house. She's a present. She's like, yeah. I need to go to her for advice more probably because my house is not the same.
Well, I don't really think a clean house means presence with the kids, but yeah, that
Hey, being
No.
present as a
But
parent.
somehow she just kind of does it all. I just don't. Yeah,
I,
fascinating.
It's just important to her, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
She made certain things like a priority. Yeah.
so what does being present for you mean? So like you say that on your social, but what does that mean for you and your kids, and what do you do to make that happen?
I think do you want to answer that or do you want
No,
Oh,
you
me.
said on your
Okay.
social, that's
Oh,
what I
on
mean.
my social.
Yeah, it's not on his social.
Yeah, that's true.
His was the picture of that duck.
So for me, being present with my kids means spending quality time together, which for me means engaging with them, looking them in the eyes, and actually talking with them and playing around with them too. I'm having fun. I'm not the best at necessarily, I don't know, I feel like Craig's way better at teaching than I am. Although we just got those kiwi crates. We've been doing those. And those have been my best friend.
Nice.
Because I can kind of come up with like some fun, engaging things to do with them. Because I feel like I'm not naturally like great at teaching them things in that sense. So it's been fun to just get creative and just see them learn in that way. But yeah, go ahead.
Do you find it hard, like they're all pretty close in age, but
Yeah.
like with the baby being so little, and then you have 5.5-year-olds, like when you're doing, for example, with the kiwi crates, what's the 10-month-old doing? And then do you get the same kiwi crate, or do you get the koala crate and the kiwi crate for the 4-year-old?
My 5-year-olds have a different one than my 4-year-old. His is I believe, yeah, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
And we do those when Scotty's napping.
Right.
Yeah. Because or we have done them when she's just been like out, just kind of toddling around. She just crawls around and
does the 4-year-old want the kiwi crate? Because our 3-year-old gets upset that he doesn't get the kiwi crate and he gets the koala crate.
He was like a little bit upset this month because Mason and Zoe got the super cool spy kit, and I could tell he's like a little bit.
Yeah, he knew his was the lesser version.
He's like,
he got the game.
You get a spy kit. You get a
woodland creature game.
Or decorate a shoe game. Draw flowers on this shoe here. Yeah. Like, what? You get a spy kit?
Yeah.
But he did get a dinosaur kit that like had some fossils in it.
That was cool, yeah.
He likes dinosaurs, so he thought that was super, super cool. And then they're pretty good about sharing too. Like, he shared his little dinosaur stuff with them, and they shared their little glow in the dark pen or flashlight.
He notices the difference, but the twins don't. Whether they notice or not, I don't know. But they're really good at whatever he's doing. They want to be involved in.
Yeah,
right.
He notices if they're doing something different, and it makes him feel bad, but it doesn't go the other way.
No.
Yeah.
They're good. Yeah. Well, yeah,
it's almost
their kids are cooler.
Well, I'm not saying just with the kids.
Yeah. No, in general.
But it's like they don't really realize that there's a difference in age, but he definitely notices.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. His personality is way different than theirs too.
Totally.
Like he's yeah.
He's a firecracker.
Let's talk about what that means.
Yeah.
So define the difference
child.
between their personality and so the twins are the similar personality, and you say that
they're different.
They're for sure different in a lot of ways. Our daughter's really easygoing. She's go with the flow, like very stable moods.
She's like a 1, and then Mason's like a 3 on that laid back scale, and then Jack's like a 9.
Yeah. Which some of that is age too, because honestly Mason was definitely more temperamental, at 4, but it's easy to forget that because they're so close in age. So a lot of times I have to remind myself like, okay, Jack, he's really mature and he really wants to be older and do all the older things, but he still has he's still 4. So I have to remind myself of that sometimes too when I'm getting frustrated with him maybe because he's not acting the same as the twins, that he's a year and a half younger. That's still a huge difference at this stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, our boys are 3 years apart.
3 years apart. And
I'm like, why aren't you like him? And then I'm like, oh, wait, you're half his age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My bad. Like.
It's easy to
I know.
that.
Damn it, listen to me. Oh, wait. You can't yet. You can't focus on one thing.
Gosh. I know.
Yeah.
I told that to Jack the other day. I'm like, hey buddy, I was like, I'm sorry. I think that's my fault. Like sometimes you act like you're 6 a lot of times. So I forget that you're 4. So sometimes you just gotta be like, Mom, I'm only 4. And so the other day he's like, Mom, I know I seem like I'm 6, but I'm just 4. And he kind of laughed. I was like, I know, I'm gonna get it. Yeah. He's a fun one. Keeps us on our toes for sure. 3rd child.
Well,
now he's middle.
Now
Is he a middle child?
Does he count as a middle child?
Yeah, I would say so.
He's the same spot I fit into my family, so I feel for him.
Yeah.
You have twins as older brothers?
No, but I'm the 3rd of 4.
Gotcha.
I don't know, maybe not, probably not. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, just. We've never met, but you guys, well, maybe not your social media profile, but the social media profile that you put out there, like there's this thing that at least when I cruise through any sort of social, it's really easy to tell, for me, people who are authentic and people who are fake. And just through their social, like even people who are trying really hard, like you can just see, like there's parts about this that are totally not real. And it feels like from a distance, and I could be wrong, you could be totally fake people, but from a distance, it feels like you guys have a really authentic portrayal of your lives and who you are on Instagram. And it's like, or that's the social I mainly follow. What do you? I mean, I'm not going to ask you, is that real? I'm going to ask you, like, what do you think the reason I feel that way is? Like, because I'm sure you cruise through Instagram and stuff, and you can see people who are just like, this is not real. Like, this is not a real person. Like, why are you so real?
I think, well, you look like you were going to make me answer that.
No.
I'd be curious to his perspective.
So why?
Yeah.
You've been that way ever since I met you.
Yeah, I think.
What way are you talking about?
As far as being authentic and genuine, like, I mean, you get to know a lot of chicks in the athletic department at a university, and I mean, for the most part, you don't get authentic and genuine,
right?
Within the first few months of knowing. So,
right.
I didn't, at least.
Right.
You were talking to the wrong girl.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Maybe I was.
Well, no, I think that's a theme. I think that's a theme with people, though.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get authentic people right out the gate. You get a facade, and then you have to break through to authenticity. But there's some people who just carry themselves with, like, just who they are. There's not, like, too many things that they're hiding, like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a serial killer.
Yeah, and I think Pat probably wouldn't mention it, but because this is one of the reasons I started following you too. I think you're not just authentic as a human being, but the way that you portray, like, yourself and, like, your own body image and all those things, like, after having 4 children. And I think that's really refreshing, especially in the industry that we're in, like, you know, being surrounded by people that look a certain way and feel the need to look a certain way. And I think that's one of the things that you do really well is sort of, I think before you were doing that, not many people in our industry were like, you know, look at me, this is who I am, and I'm a really good athlete. And it's not that you don't care what you look like, but that's not the focus of who you are. And I think that's, for me, was really refreshing to see. So, yeah, I don't know if you can speak to that, but.
Was that a question?
Yeah. It was just expanding on yours. Like,
gotcha. The
biggest thing that I find her being authentic about is, like, body image and being a really good role model for women.
I think, like, when I started my Instagram, it was just kind of an extension of who I already am. I'm a total oversharer. I don't really have any secrets. We just played a game. We played a game at Christmas with our family who, you know, I guess they know a lot about you, but it was like, tell something that nobody knows about you. And I could not for the life of me think of a single thing that no one knew about me, because I'm just an open book. And sometimes that's probably to my detriment, I would say. But yeah, but I think one thing I started to notice over the years, you know, I've had an Instagram forever now, over the years of sharing just my life, was that people really appreciated hearing about someone going through things that they were going through or dealing with. And I made a lot of connections that way. And so when I had the twins and, you know, speaking on body image, I went from like, I fit that mold, I guess you could say, kind of that people were looking to for a health and fitness person in the CrossFit space or a competitor or whatever. And then had the twins, and I had a lot of issues with like separated abs and, you know, all the things that come with being a mom, but especially a twin mom. I just kind of realized, like, wow, I look way different than all the women that I have been looking up to, I guess, over the years. And what does this mean for me? And I just kind of, and also, like, what does this mean for me as an athlete? Well, as long as I'm healing things, it doesn't really mean much if I don't look like the girls I'm competing against. Like, maybe I have loose skin or separated abs or different things like that. Like, I can still be a great athlete. And also, I want to show women that motherhood can look so many different ways, and we can still be proud of our bodies and still be strong and capable and powerful and all of those things. So I just started sharing more about just kind of my own experience, and then realized there were a lot of other women that were also going through the same thing, and, you know, and had goals maybe as a mother to be an athlete, and it was cool for them to see that shown.
To see someone win the games post fourth child?
Wait, were you pregnant when you competed?
Pregnant.
Technically pregnant. technically, I mean, it's just like hit or miss one way or the other.
Technically.
Technically.
Wait, what do you mean technically? You mean like you knew you were pregnant or you didn't know you were pregnant?
No, thank goodness. Or I would have been my team would have just hated me that week. No, I missed my period. So you can get pregnant before you get your cycle back, and you can also get pregnant on day 26 of a 28-day cycle. So
Surprise.
no.
Or I think he's just got really good sperm. Like that shit's quality. Like I'm gonna put this on Craig. Like you can say that you're fertile. I'm gonna say that Craig over here is just like.
It's for sure him. So I did not think I was pregnant because there was only one chance, and it was
Nobody wants to hear all this, dude.
Yeah,
no, they do. They love
do.
this stuff.
You can edit this out if you want. But so I just kind of thought, I missed my cycle the week before we left, so it had been a Thursday, and then we left the following Thursday. And I just didn't think about it because our training had changed. We were traveling. I just kind of thought I don't know, maybe I'm syncing up with Mandy and Tiff. I didn't think that really. And until 2 weeks later after the games, and I still hadn't got my cycle. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. That hasn't happened for a while. Maybe I should take a test.
Surprise!
We are pregnant.
Again.
So it was crazy. People were congratulating me about winning the games, and I was already like, done. I'm having a baby. On to the next. It was like, the games felt like a million years prior.
So are you guys using one of those apps that like tracks like when, cause I'd like to not use that app. Like if there's one that like tracks the things that are happening, just go ahead and avoid that one.
Yeah. No,
what were you using again?
I don't know.
The moon and solar signs and like the waiting for a sundial to hit the right time. Well,
we are definitely being very much more careful. We're just going with the abstinence route nowadays.
Yeah. So much easier.
I mean, that's the easiest way to avoid having another child. You mentioned some of this stuff, and I just kind of want to hit on you had a post that we were talking about, like, choose to feel beautiful and go live your life. Like, and it seems like you've made that choice, and you kind of spoke on it a second ago, like, with the way you look at your body and you view yourself, and you want to be powerful, you want to be an athlete, and you just made this choice to feel beautiful, right? My question is, like, what do you think gives you personally the power to make that choice? Why do you think you're able to choose to feel beautiful? And like, what gives you that power? Is it something from your childhood? Is it like what? Because there's so many people who can't. Like, why do you think you can?
Well, that's a good question. I think a lot of it is just, giving myself permission to think of things differently, and then also practicing. I think it can take practice for people. It's not like you just wake up one morning and you're like, oh, all of a sudden I love every part of my body, and I'm, or whatever. I love, I think I'm beautiful. I don't know. I think for a lot of people it can be hard. Like, we all have areas maybe we're just like not as confident with, or different things, but choosing to see yourself, I think, as more than just your physical appearance, and also choosing to focus on what you are capable of, and having gratitude for all of the things that your body is doing for you. I think just kind of shifting your perspective too can help also with that. Like, for me, like if I'm having a day where I'm feeling frustrated with my abs still being separated, or just, something like that, like thinking about all the things that I can do still and that I'm capable of doing, and like how grateful I am for all the work that my body has done for me. It feels, like thinking of it in that way, then it feels silly to be worrying about my loose skin hanging over my pants or whatever it is that I'm dealing with. Because we all have something, there's no such thing as a perfect body, so no matter what it is that we're worried about, someone else would kill for that, or vice versa. So I think just for me, focusing on being grateful is what helps me. And then also it doesn't hurt to have a super supportive husband who thinks I'm beautiful no matter what I look like.
Oh, good plug.
Good plug. Solid plug for the Craig.
Like, right after I had a baby, he's like, "Oh yeah, honey, looking good." Like, I'm feeling like I don't even recognize myself, and he's like, "Yeah, I like a little thicker, look like whatever."
Dude, I'm right there with you.
Kat does the same thing.
I'm the same way, Craig. Like, I'm just like, this is fantastic. Like, all of it.
38 weeks pregnant, like you think I look cute in my yoga pants, like I mean that helps. Like, I think if he was critical of me, then that would make it a lot harder. So it's not like I have to battle like what he thinks of me, or I think that would be really frustrating. And I know that there's a lot of women that experience that too. So it's like, it's hard enough to work on your own self-esteem if you feel like pressure from your spouse to look a certain way, or,
Dude, I had a friend of mine pull me aside one time when Taz was pregnant for the first time. And he was like, "Hey man, just so you know, there comes a time while your wife's pregnant that she just looks disgusting. Like, you look at her and you're like, you just want to vomit. She's just so gross. And, man, just don't say anything." And I'm like, dude, I cannot imagine being married to you. Like, it was like the most heartbreaking / like anything. Like, and it couldn't have been further from the truth for me. Because, like, for Taz, like, when she was pregnant, I was like, this is like, she was so beautiful. She's always beautiful to me, but like, she just got more beautiful. And then she and it was so much, it's been nonstop beauty for me as like, she goes through these physical changes, but I just like that when my buddy told me that, I was like, you jackass. Like, I feel so bad for your wife.
Yeah. Oh. Gosh. Oh yeah. So I mean, I think that definitely helps. Like, I've had and also probably didn't hurt that my mom is a therapist. So growing up with a therapist for a mother, I think helped in a lot of ways. Like, we talked about those things, and she's always been someone that I could talk to. And I remember in middle school, coming home, like, feeling really upset because boys were making comments about like my legs just being so big. Like, I've always had these really strong muscular legs, and some of my guy friends weren't quite hitting puberty yet, and I had just like these massive quads, and I'm sure they were giving me a hard time about it. Like, geez, your legs are huge. I remember that's like the comments that they would make, and I went home like so sad, and my mom, she pulled up pictures of Olympic sprinters, and
good call.
She showed me, like, no, your legs are amazing. Like, they're not, it's not a bad thing. And then, 10 years later, like, I think that there's something I'm probably most proud of. Like, I know how strong they are, and I love having big legs. So it's just, I feel like she did a great job of helping me shift my perspective at an early age. And so.
So your therapist mom, like, that's rad. I mean, so therapist mom, like, what's the biggest thing you're trying to do that your mom did that you've noted that your mom did that's helped you in your life that you're now trying to do with your littles?
I think just being available in, like, not just physically available, but like available,
like emotionally.
Yes, emotionally, so that they can come to me with their problems, and letting them know that whatever it is that they're going through is never too, like, immature for me. Like, if it's a big deal to them, then it's a big deal to me, and we can talk about it. And then I think just continuing to have ongoing conversations with them always, so that they feel like they can come and talk to us about whatever it is that's on their mind. And she always, whatever I talked to her about, she always acted like it was really important. And that was, if my boyfriend broke up with me in 7th grade or whatever it was, like, I knew I could come to her, and she would give me the time and comfort and listening ear and object. She was pretty good at not telling me what to do, but at helping me sort it out for myself.
Oh, that's cool.
Craig, what about you? What do you think your mom did that you? I don't imagine you had the exact same relationship with your mom that she's talking about right now.
No, but pretty similar. Yeah. I mean, my mom definitely wasn't a therapist, but we had a fairly similar relationship to that, I would say. she was always there, and she's a communicator.
She's good at asking questions. His mom.
The interrogation was real. Whether you were in hot water or whether it was, she could tell that you weren't feeling on top of your game or you were feeling down about something. Me and my brothers probably weren't the greatest communicators with her, but she would get it out of us.
Yeah.
With the interrogation, for sure. Yeah.
And are you trying to emulate any of that with your kids?
Yeah, I'm definitely not as good at it as she was. That's for sure. They're still a little young for I don't know.
The full-blown interrogation?
Yeah.
And maybe they get from Michaela, they're pretty good. They're pretty open about they'll bring random topics of concern up to us all the time. But they probably get that from you.
No, I think for sure from you too. He's really good at, like, if our kids ask him a question, he doesn't just like give them the quick answer. He really takes the time to like explain how things work, and he's patient and he answers. Sometimes I'm not the best at, like, my kids they got a lot of questions. They're at like an age of questions, and sometimes we'll get a few questions deep and I'll kind of feel myself wanting to just like answer them in a way that like stops the conversation sometimes. And he's such a good example of just like, I mean, he could talk for hours explaining the ins and outs of something like a football game or, whatever that they want to know about.
Combustion engine.
Why is the sky blue?
Yeah.
I brought that, not that my mom did that too, but I probably get that from my dad. Like, I just remember we like build stuff, and he was always making us do random projects, and then just explaining in depth of how everything works.
Similar.
Over here, it's the exact same way, man. Like,
we're gonna build this pig pen, and this post goes here, and this goes here, and this is how to hit the nails, and like.
And they love that, And I don't know, maybe it's just that I'm like more focused on doing other things. I don't know.
You don't care about that stuff. Let's be honest. You don't care at all about that. And like,
I'm the same.
But like, you have plenty of other strengths.
Yeah, our brains are filled with like keeping everyone alive, I think.
Yeah, I that's it. I'm like, okay,
boring stuff.
Meal, and then we got to do,
Yeah, we're thinking about like the next thing. Like, okay, so we just had dinner, and then bedtime. Okay, and then yeah.
No,
and Pat's thinking about the thing that he's doing at that very moment.
Right.
Yeah. Like sometimes after dinner, Craig will like sit down, like, okay, and I'm like, I don't know, it's go time. Like, we got to do jammies, we got to do bath. Oh yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? You look like you're getting into like relaxation mode here. That's after all of the tasks we have left.
Yeah, we created like this really rigid schedule, and we're very lucky that we can be around the kids like all the time, because we have such flexible jobs and stuff. And between 4 and 7, we labeled it like all hands on deck. Yes. And we both like have to be available like between 4 and 7. That's the time. No one can be off doing something. It's like, this is the time.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, can I go in the shed and grind on some knives? And she's like, no.
Yeah, I like that. We're the same way. We're he used to work out of an office, but in Thanksgiving, like around Thanksgiving, November, he kind of switched what he was doing, and now we're both working out of the house, so it's like amazing because we're tag teaming, we're both around, but it's like, it's crazy too, I think, because we're both here all the time, so it's hard to like figure it out what exactly the schedule is.
Yeah, right.
There is none.
There is none.
Well, so Taz originally had a really loose schedule with me, like, hey, you just need to get work done in this half of the day, like, and that doesn't work for my psychology. So you either have no schedule with me, and then I just do it whenever I want to do it, or it has to be
you don't do it
to the hour, or I don't do it, if I don't think it needs to be done, or it has to be like to the hour. But in that scheduled time, it has like Pat gets to go dick around and do whatever he wants for 2 hours.
Yeah, we have it's like hour to hour our schedule.
But it's pretty great because it allows me the psychological freedom to be like, look at the schedule. Okay, I'm off now. Like, off duty.
Yeah.
Like, bye.
Yeah.
We have like a schedule of that, basically. Yeah.
It's a little bit harder because I have varying meetings. And,
Right.
Yeah. He's trying to throw random meetings into the mix here.
You son of a...
I know.
Is he putting it on the calendar? Like, do you know about the meetings?
Like, rather the alternative, we could just live on the street or something.
So
you know, pros and cons.
We'll ask a couple more questions, then wrap it up so we don't have to keep you guys all
What's
night.
the just going back to the children thing? Sorry.
Go for it.
What's the biggest struggle that you guys are having with the kids at the moment? Like, is it between the siblings, or is it just like time management, or like what do you see as your biggest struggle?
With us being with them all day long, I would say the being present, actually being present,
Yeah.
Right.
other than not just physically, but
Like,
emotionally and
So they're home. They're home with you guys all day, every day.
yeah. They have the older 3 have preschool, 3 hours,
2.5 hours.
Yeah,
Monday,
3
Wednesday,
days a
Friday
week.
morning.
Okay.
So that's
Other
kind
than that, we're pretty much with them.
of
Yeah.
24/7.
So it's hard to. I shouldn't say it's hard. You just we have to be mindful. I have to be mindful of. Okay, put down the phone. I've been looking at this plat map for 30 minutes while they're trying to ask me a question or something like that.
Right.
And try to give the bulk of the time to actually paying attention to them.
And engaging.
That's what has been the struggle for me. I don't know the struggle,
Yeah,
but it's
not struggle,
definitely a
but like
concern of
something that,
mine.
Yeah.
yeah.
Something you're working on.
Yeah,
for sure.
something we're working on. And then, like, as far as like developmentally with them right now, I think the challenge is like motivating them. Like, we're kind of to the stage now where they're able to help out a little bit more around the house, and it's like I can ask them 5,000 times, or I can figure out how to like motivate them. And we go through phases, and it's like figuring out the right. Yeah, and they're all different too. Like, it's really easy to motivate one of them in one way and the other one not so much. And so kind of like figuring that out, how we can all help and like be a part of the household together, and then how I can take time to like give them each their specific things that they need as far as like engaging with them, because I think they all have different things that they want to do with me too. And so
Yeah, that sounds
Very similar.
very similar.
I mean,
Yeah.
we do a lot of video work for the different channels that we do for our warm-up and workout, as well as our Outside the Box that we're launching soon, and then this stuff. And I was looking through some video footage the other day it was like I was recording stuff in the garage to make stuff happen, like they were movement videos and stuff like that. But I just left the camera rolling, and there was this like big chunk of time where Taz and I were talking and trying to sort something out, and she's demoing and blah, blah, blah. And our other kid behind us, the littlest one, is just trying to get our attention. He just really wants
middle one.
The middle one, yeah, I guess the middle one. The baby was not trying to get our attention. He was asleep or bouncing in his bouncer or something. But he was trying to get our attention. He was just like, Mom, Dad. And all he wanted to do was show us how he could do ring rows. And it was like all in the video behind us, but we're just completely ignoring him. Like, we're looking at our phones, and
But we're so oblivious.
we're so oblivious to it because when we're in the work mode, we never leave the house. So for him, he's just like, we're in the house. So it's just like, and it's like he's not even there, and he's like completely ignoring. It was like the saddest video. I'm like 11 o'clock at night editing footage, going,
It's funny. I don't find it that sad. I wasn't as
dickhead.
emotional about it as you were. It was just weird because I hate when they feel neglected. But,
you know that you don't do that often, and
Right.
I know that I do that often.
Okay.
So I have a much more
You felt
emotional tie to that.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, man, I didn't hear him because normally, like, I hear him as soon as he says "mom, mom." If he says "mom" twice, I will always like respond. Like, he can say "dad" like 30 times in Pat's ear, and he doesn't hear him sometimes. And it's not that he's trying to ignore him. That's just how his brain is, you know.
yeah, he's thinking, I'm like, Craig, hey.
it's necessary.
Or whatever.
It's a little sticky dart. You need to like a blow dart. Oh yeah. Okay, I got it. We'll move on here.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, I would say that's my biggest thing too, because a lot of my work is online, and so it's like sometimes it's easy for me to just like get in work mode often, and then be like, oh, I'm feeling pulled. I need to take care of that real quick. But then they want to play, and so it's like I'm constantly trying to balance setting aside time for work and setting aside time for being present and with them and like actually doing something with them. But I guess that's one of the blessings of working from home and one of the
Curses.
curses in some ways, because you really have to be really intentional about structuring your time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something I'm always, sometimes I get up early in the mornings and I'm like, oh, I'm crushing life. Like I feel so great. I got a lot of stuff done. Now I feel like, let's go. I'm going to take the kids on a field trip today. We're going to have so much fun. But then, the baby wakes up, we get sickness thrown into the mix, and like that doesn't happen, or it's just we're constantly trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're definitely not experts at it, so.
By any means.
Dude.
Constant bet.
Yeah.
So you guys have been together for 10 years, and you seem pretty happy from everything I see. I mean, maybe he doesn't have a social media account just because, like, it'd just be F-bombs and like, him, like, throwing fits and breaking windows and stuff. But, like, I've talked to people who know you personally, and, like, they say that you guys are awesome. And I'm just curious if you have any advice for people who, like, married couples. What makes your relationship what it is? I mean, one, he finds you sexy no matter what. So that's one thing. I mean, but you already expressed that, so it has to be something new.
From my perspective, I feel like we are really good at having each other's back, and just like, I know he's always got my back when it comes to anything, whether it's, and that's obviously, like, that's taken some time to perfect. Like, we've definitely gotten a lot better at that and more secure with that. Like, through each trial, each stage of life, kids have taken that to like a whole nother level. But I know, he's going to support me in whatever it is that I need, and basically like do what he can to help me, and then vice versa. And also we trust each other. I think trust is probably huge.
Yeah.
You have anything to add to that? We communicate a lot.
She talks a lot. I
talk
listen.
a lot.
That's how nice. Yeah. No, that pretty much, a lot of that is comes from experience. So I don't know that it's great advice for somebody that's in a new relationship. Hey, use this trust and have each other's back. I mean, it's good advice, but it's come from experience. And
I think in our early years, like I feel like in our first couple years of marriage, it seemed like I would come up with things that we could be better at and like want to talk about it. Like, hey, this is upsetting me or whatever. And like, he would shut down when I would do that and then not talk.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to.
And then, cause he would feel like I was like attacking him, or maybe I wasn't happy with him. Kind of is, I think, probably, I don't know, I'm speaking for you now. But,
yeah, no, that's accurate.
But then
accurate.
I explained to him, like, hey, the reason why I'm bringing things up is because I love you and I really care about our relationship. So if I didn't care, I would just say, all right, whatever, like, I'll just let him do this or we'll do that, and like, I'll just write us off. But because I'm committed to you and I want us to have a good relationship and I love you, like, let's talk about these things. And I'm, and so I think when we kind of like, when he realized that and we both were on the same page as far as that goes, now we communicate about things so quickly. Like, we're never like stewing or mad at each other in that sense.
But it takes time. I mean, I think that takes time in a relationship. I think that's one of the things. I mean, it was a video I saw a long time ago that was talking about like one of the non-religious, non-socioeconomical positives to marriage is that you add it forces some work through certain stages of life, right? So like once you get married, you're committed. Like you're committed to this third party that has an investment into what's going on, and that you can't just be like, fuck it, I'm done, and walk away. And you shouldn't get married if that's the mentality you have going in. But like it forces that kind of growth of like, okay, things aren't working. Yeah. Like we need to figure this out because we don't have an out. I mean, remember we didn't sign that lease being like, well, at 20 years, it's like, I'm going to pay this off after 72 months. It's not one of those, it's not a car loan.
Yeah. And I think like, going through hard things like, finances or job struggles or some newborn twins or just, all of it, like it all adds up so much and has created so much depth for our relationship that I think we have such a deep level of trust because I've been able to trust that he'll be there during, hard times and like just being able to, I guess, fall back on all of those experiences is now makes it so much easier 10 years later. But I would say earlier on, it was just being willing to, like you said, like work on whatever it is that we needed to work on and do it together instead of like against each other.
Do you guys have the same value structure? Do you guys like value the same things and, believe in the same things and have like the same structure of like, this is what it means to be a good person, or this is how I view the world? Like, is it similar or is it different?
I would say like,
Like
like 98,
similar.
probably
Definitely
like 97, 98%. We have like a couple things we'll like, he thinks one way, I think another way. And
Example.
oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe like politically or.
Definitely on the political front.
But no, like generally speaking, yeah. And I think that for sure, that's helped a lot.
Yeah. I think those are the things that are really hard to work through, like where it's like, I believe that women should be subservient to men.
Yeah.
I don't, like that, like ends up making it
overcome.
Well,
Yeah.
That's a tough one to overcome, but like, I feel like the relationships that work through the hard communication times tend to have like an underlying value structure that's very similar. It's like and belief structure that's very similar. Yeah.
And I think too, like we've both grown in a lot of ways over the 10 years, and we've kind of done it together versus like going our own separate way, like kind of growing apart, which I think can happen with a lot of couples. They just like decide to go their own direction, I guess, and just say we've grown apart. But instead we've like, we discuss all those things. And so we've either kind of figured out what works best for us in that sense but I think for the most part, it comes down to that, like our core values match up. Anything else that we have disagreements on, it's not as big of a deal.
Well, I think kids could if you didn't have a solid relationship, could really push a relationship apart.
Yeah.
They just throw that wedge in there of like, okay, now you don't get to talk to each other in any meaningful way ever, and you're always stressed, you're always tired, and right. So it's
and then I think also when they start getting older and you start having to use like actual parenting techniques, we were raised very differently, and so some things will come up, where we don't agree right away on like how to deal with the situation.
For sure.
And but because our core values and stuff are the same and we both believe in the same things, we'll always come around and like, eventually kind of agree with each other. But if we didn't have the same beliefs, I think that would totally create a rift between couples.
Yeah.
We had some of those on the parenting.
Yeah. No, we were both, I think.
Wait, like what?
Well, my parents were definitely more like, let's talk it out. I don't know.
More
there was
therapist-y.
A lot of negotiating happening,
A lot of what?
In his household, there's zero room for like negotiating.
They were negotiating.
Oh yeah, that's the same with us. He was like, talk it out, and I was like, you get told what to do, and that's it.
Yeah. Like still to this day, like no one will correct their parents if they say something that's like, if you wonder, or like if my parents say something, I'm like, what, Dad? No, that does not make sense.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, no one would do that in his family. Like, it's a definitely different, raised differently in that sense.
Yeah.
But same core values, I feel like, for both of our families. So
You weren't in with the spankings.
yeah, no, we've definitely had to like figure out what works best for us, and that looks different than what his parents did and what my parents did. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting how that is.
Do you find yourself having more the same stance that your parents did, Craig? Like, and you having, because right now we have almost the reverse. Taz wants to talk stuff out, and I want to set stricter boundaries.
Because I was raised with strict boundaries.
And I was raised doing whatever I want. And like, and I'm like, dude, you can't push that boundary like that. So for us, we're just realizing this in the last few weeks. We're like flipped.
Yeah, because I'm so conscious of like not being given the space to like talk about my emotions and stuff as a kid. And so when I see Oaks struggling, like he's the 6-year-old struggling with something, and Pat wants to like just let him struggle, like it like breaks my heart because I remember going through that as a kid.
I'll be like, you just sit on that step and you think. And when you can think about it, then you can come talk to me. But you can't move from that step until you calm the fuck down. And she's like, well, let's let him go to a space he feels more comfortable. Like, let's let him go to his room and let's let him calm down in there, and then we can have the conversation. I'm like, no, he wins. He wins if he gets to go into his room.
He's 6. He's not winning anything.
He's
honey.
winning. He is winning against us.
That sounds just like us, except for I don't think we're flipped
No, I
from
think
the way our parents did it. I definitely am more how my parents parented.
And I'm more.
She's more like her parents.
I feel like we both have taken what we feel like we liked from our parents.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of things, I'm like, yeah, no, I feel like your parents did a good job with that, or he thinks my parents did a good job with this, and we've kind of like come to a middle ground for the most part. Like
we're quite a bit different from either side now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which is interesting, like when you get to that point in your marriage that you're like, oh, we don't really resemble either family.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to
good,
advance humanity, not be the same freaking thing all the time. Yeah, probably a good idea.
I mean, I would like to think we've taken the good from both, but I'm sure we've added in our own issues on top of it.
Yeah, of course.
No doubt.
It's our own mix. I'm sure our parents look at how we do it and they're like, ooh.
Oh, our parents do for sure.
Oh, man.
They've expressed it many times.
Both sides.
Sure, yeah.
Just both sides.
Yeah, my parents think that because we go traveling a lot, that we're like doing a disservice to our kids' lives.
Oh, man. I think that's amazing. That's our goal. We're like, okay, January to March next year, like we were just talking about that, because you guys homeschool. That's amazing. We probably won't do the homeschool route, but we're thinking like
we got to figure
it out because we want to travel, and so we're gonna have to work with their teachers or do something. But
there's hybrid homeschool programs.
That's cool. Okay, we'll have to find.
So that's what we're in. We're in one that's like they go to school Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we homeschool the rest of the days. Mm-hmm. So, and they're in school. He's in school from 9 till 2. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So there's a curriculum where all the homeschool kids meet up in a classroom.
Yeah, it's not a curriculum. We still have to run his curriculum.
Right.
Yeah.
They just supplement whatever we're doing at school.
Yeah.
That's really cool because then you have way more quality time, but they also have time where they're engaged and they're learning on their own, and you're able to crank through things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that can only be done, and personally, I don't think it can be done as they hit teenagers. I don't think it can be done in the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Taz might think differently, but we are yet to cross that bridge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that we will be doing it, but I have no idea what we'll be doing at that point.
How they, if they're thriving and how things.
I wonder if they're going to have like digital schools by that time.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Because I mean, they already have online colleges. Why wouldn't they have online kids schools that just follow games and stuff like that? And then then have meetups and stuff with like actual parents. So then we can like be anywhere in the world and learn and travel and call them a travel school.
Start that. That's a good idea.
We'll join. We'll meet you in New Zealand for January to March. We could do something there. Yeah.
We can do online. We basically we can Skype it. It's a classroom where they all log in and we do the whole thing.
No, I figure we have enough kids; they can get the socialization amongst themselves.
Exactly.
No, I don't know. I think there's so much to be learned from traveling, like experiencing different cultures, and there's and just also even just like getting that quality time together outside of your normal routine.
Oh, that's the for me, that is the best thing about when we travel, because I don't feel like I have to do the washing and I have to clean the house, or I have to, like when you travel, you're staying, like we stay at Airbnbs and it's like not my house. So I don't care what it looks like for some reason. Like I might like tidy it a little bit, but
before you leave.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like you have all this free time that you otherwise didn't have. And you're not like worrying about calling the doctor or the dentist, and I've got to take the dogs to get a groom, or I've got to, like all these, just it's
like, what adventure should we go on today?
Exactly.
How long can we build this sandcastle?
Yeah.
Dragon rider training. That's what we do in the mornings while we're traveling.
Anyway, don't want to keep you too much longer, so we'll ask the final question. We'll say we always end it with this: like, if you go back and tell yourself something right before you had your set of twins, your first set of twins, like, what would you say to yourself? Craig, you go first. What piece of advice would you give Craig
Yourself.
right before? Don't give Greg any advice. Just give it to Craig.
To have a better attitude at that point, because it's going to be a lot more enjoyable than I was originally thinking to be a parent. And it will be a lot more trying than I also thought it would be, but way more rewarding.
Dude, I feel you on that.
Jeez.
I really feel you on that. I was so not expecting it to be as amazing as it was, and I also wasn't expecting it to be as hard as it was.
Yeah.
Both of those.
Like this double whammy of like, oh my God, greatest thing ever. But oh my God, what was I doing before?
I know, where did all the time go?
What did I do with my life before I had kids? Because I had so much time.
So much time. Yeah. Well, I think, to change it a little bit, like, that's the advice that I give. Like, my sister is trying to decide if she should have a baby right now. She's got this really exciting career and stuff. And that's one thing that I told her, like, you will be amazed at how much you can accomplish in the cracks, like within the cracks, like of parenthood. Like, you'll just become so much more productive with the time that you do have.
The cracks of parenthood. That's a t-shirt right there. You mean the rest of life? Yeah.
But like, it's just like, you think like, oh, all of these things are taking me so much time. Like, it's just amazing how much you can do in half the time when you become a parent. You're just like, all of a sudden you have all these resources. And I think the same thing goes with parents that ask, like, how do you do it with 4 kids when they have 1? I mean, I think it's just, you let go of the things that really don't matter.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have enough of whatever it is that you need, for the most part. Sanity is questionable. But yeah, like, as far as resources go and love goes, I mean, I just think, yeah, you have enough.
Is that your advice?
That's my really not answering the question advice. I think that's it. I think my advice that I would give myself back then would have been that I am made to be my kid's mom. And so I know how to be the best mom for them. And that might look different than anything else I've see or have seen, but trusting in my abilities to be their mom and what they need.
Solid. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Fun. Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Thank you guys for listening to the show, and if you wouldn't mind heading on over to iTunes, giving us a rating, and also writing maybe a little review, telling people about the show, as well as checking out our sponsors, Perkia Rings, as well as Cat and Cloud Coffee. That's Perkia, Pyrkia. Use the code TRIBELIFE for a little discount. And if you want to go to Cat and Cloud Coffee, that's CATANDCLOUD, so Cat and Cloud Coffee, and put that in the old Google machine, pull it up, and choose anything in their store. Use code BARBERSHOP, and you can get 10% off anything in the store. All right, thank you guys. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you're at right now.